Hi there, my name's Adam Troop, and today I'm going to talk about and show you some samples of a couple of products from Sony for their lenses for the full frame Alpha series, the A7 series of cameras. Basically just to explain where I'm coming from. For many years I've been using the 5D Mark III Canon, and it has been a fantastic camera. I've absolutely loved it to the extent that I bought pretty much every lens you could imagine for it, which is, as you know, some investment. When the A7S II came out, I have to say I was incredibly intrigued by this camera. The fact that it could do 4K internal and it had sensor stabilization, so all lenses can be stabilized on it, and the fact it can do high frame rates, the 50p that you can just shoot all day if you want to, slow it down to 25, and the 100 frames a second or 120 frames a second, depending on whether you're shooting PAL or NTSC. Very attractive camera. Suffice to say, I bought one and I have been incredibly happy with it. I've actually been so impressed by both its stills quality and its video quality that I've been using as my personal camera as well. It's so small and you know, pretty lightweight. The body's solid, but it really is you know, very compact package and a perfect personal camera, you know, for shooting stills and video for your family and all that kind of stuff. So my main issue was, and I've been using the LX100 and GH4s occasionally as my sort of family cams, where I just want to shoot bits of video of our holidays and just day-to-day goings on. We've got a 1-year-old daughter, and yeah, it's just nice to capture all these things and really high quality. But the one thing I was missing with using the Metabones adapter and Canon EF lenses on the A7S II was autofocus in video. And I know basically for professional work people tend to use manual focus, and I do for basically 100%. You know, I don't remember the last time I ever used, maybe about 7 years ago I used autofocus on a professional job when I was using one of the big video cameras which had like no depth of field at all. But for personal use, I want to think about the gear as little as possible, and say I'm like playing with my little girl, or you know, whatever, I'm walking with her, you know, sometimes you're pointing the camera at yourself and you can't focus. You know, it's, if you're filming stuff other than yourself you can focus, but you know, if you want to just whip the camera around and you're holding her, for whatever reason, autofocus is incredibly handy. And unfortunately, with the adapted glass from Canon, none of it works with autofocus. And even if it did, I wouldn't imagine it would be very good, judging by, especially on the A7S II, judging by the performance of just stills autofocus. Obviously, it's different for the A7 II and A7R II, those with the sort of hybrid contrast based autofocus detection and the phase detection points on the sensor. Autofocus, fantastic, but I suspect they're the same for video, for continuous autofocus and things. So I had to buy a native lens for the Sony, which obviously it's like, I've already got tons of lenses for the Canon, tons of lenses for my Micro Four Thirds Canon camera. I'm shooting this currently on a GH4, one of 3 that I've got. So huge amounts of money invested in other systems, and very reluctant to invest more into a third system. But as I say, the Sony has been so impressive that I thought it worth getting just a kit lens, just to give a sort of standard zoom range, just to see how I got on with it, see how its autofocusing was. And I got the 28-70 Sony kit lens. It's a variable aperture, and yeah, it's for personal use. Do you know, it's fantastic. It's so lightweight. The actual, I would say it's almost back heavy, you know, which is so unusual with this camera, because pretty much every lens you put on this, it's going to be front heavy, and it's actually not the most comfortable thing to hold in the world. Maybe if you've got the battery grip it would be a little bit more comfortable, but for personal use I wanted to keep things as compact as possible. And this 28-70, I thought, you know, I'll check it out. The 24-70 Zeiss lens, substantially more expensive, and from what people have said, its performance is better, but it's a lot more expensive. I thought, go with this one first, see how I find it. I wasn't super keen on going to 28mm as the widest instead of 24, because I've been used to the 24mm equivalent on the LX100 as the widest, and it's fine. You know, quite a few times, especially as I say, if I'm, you know, out with the little girl and I just want to capture us together and I flip the camera around, it's 24mm. It's okay, as I say, but I would like a bit wider. But then going to 70mm, that's pretty handy as well. But I think for most personal stuff, to be honest, I do tend to shoot on the wider end. And although this lens has been really great, and you know, this is based on like 5 days usage, it's been used to hell. I've literally been shooting non-stop family stuff with it, and yeah, it's been great. I mean, you can see the difference in quality, more so in stills mode. Even at 12 megapixel, you can see, like, if I was to adapt, say, the Sigma 35 1.4 art lens, you know, that thing is so sharp, especially put it to like f2 or something. I mean, you will see the difference. Even like the Canon 50mm 1.4, stick that to f2 or something, you know, that's going to blow this away in terms of sharpness. But you know, it has that autofocus, which is really what I want. I want it for video. And just to give you an idea, I'm just going to turn this on and just kind of simulate a couple of different shots. So here, this is, and I've no idea how the autofocus, yep, it is on autofocus. So this is how wide it is. This is at 28, and it looks like it's focusing on the camera there. And say I want to film myself, this is basically, and I'm using a GorillaPod, you know, selfie stick style, just for that little bit more distance between me and the camera. So one of the, you know, it gets me in, but see if I've got her as well, or I want to get all three of us, you know, my partner and the baby, it's not ideal. So being frustrated with that 28mm, am I even recording on that? I am recording on that. Being frustrated with that 28mm wide angle, I thought, right, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to have a look at the 16 to 35 f4, which is obviously substantially more expensive, but you know, if it's exactly what I want, then it's worth having. So I'm just going to stop this, and I'm going to jump over, just give you a little look at that. I mean, that's the 28mm, 28 to 70, and it's so light. And you know, one thing that's really cool about this lens, zooming, something I would never do on a you know, DSLR hybrid type camera with these lenses. It's so smooth. It's really quite amazing. It's buttery smooth, as some people would say. It really glides. So doing a smooth little zoom transition, it's not something I like to do. Very often I'd rather, you know, reframe and, you know, cut out the zooming part. But you can actually get, in fact, I'll just show you before I put the other lens on. I'm just going to film the camera, and I'm just going to do a really smooth zoom into the camera that's filming me with the radio mic pack on top of it. So you can see there, I mean, I'm being fairly careful, but I mean, just the fact I can get that smooth a zoom, it's quite handy. So let's take a look. I'll pause that. Let's take a look at the 16 to 35. So I'll take the cap off the back and just hold them up side by side. So you can see there's not a huge difference in size. They're not massively different, but you know, the 16 to 35, the build on it is beautiful. It's all metal, apart from the lens hood, which is plastic, but that's fine. But you can just feel it. I mean, even the focus and zoom rings are metal, so it's cold to touch, and you can feel it is a little bit heavier. And to be honest, when I'm wanting weight reduction and I don't want the camera to feel at all front heavy, I really wouldn't have minded if they'd made this a couple of £100 cheaper and just made it plastic construction. You know, I would kind of be annoyed if they charged the same and it was plastic, because it's like, you know, you need some justification to the premium price. But really, weight would be appreciated, but you can't deny it. I mean, this is a beautiful lens, really nice. And although it's focused by wire, as all the Sony lenses are, apart from obviously I think some of their Luxia, maybe. I think they're manual lenses. But so I'm going to stick it on 28 as well. So again, it'd be just interesting for you to see here, set at 28, how the quality differs to the 28 to 70 at 28. This is at f4. I think I'd set the other one to 3.5. So this is ever so slightly. It's like, you know, 0.5 f slower. So I'm just going to turn it around. And recording? Yeah, it's recording, right? I'm just gonna kind of hold it roughly in the same place. Obviously this camera doesn't have a flip out screen, so I've got no idea what I framed the last time, to be honest. I'm just kind of guessing it was like this. But now I'm going to zoom it out to 20 mil. Where are we? Okay, so, well, that's 24, just to give you an idea of the difference between 28 and 24. Now out to 20 mil. So that's at 20 mil. Just to give you an idea of how much more you can get in the frame. And now I'm going to go to the widest 16 mil setting. So that's at 16 mil, still f4. That's not changed. Added bonus with this lens, non-variable aperture, constant aperture. So yeah, and I'll turn it round and just have a look at the camera there, and again show you the difference. So imagine the camera. I mean, I would say I'm probably only about a meter from it, which is quite a, you know, usual situation. Say you're sitting having a meal in a restaurant and you want to capture a little bit of the people across the table from you. Well, if you're like this, I mean, you will have to move around, see other people, whereas this, it's like boom, you know, it's really nice to have that ability to go that wide. And what I'll do is I'll just zoom in to its full 35 mil, and that's at 35 mil. So it's really, and if you want to get a close-up, you know, you can just move a bit closer, and 35 mil, I find I would zoom into that quite a lot. I basically go between 28 and 35, sometimes 50, rarely 70, just because of when I'm filming personal stuff, the proximity I am to the people I'm with, generally I'm not a great distance from them. So yeah, I think this is going to be a much more useful zoom range, and I can't wait to start producing some personal videos with it, and yeah, it's going to be good fun. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for those of you who are thinking between even the 24 to 70 and the 16 to 35, say you just can't afford both lenses at the moment, but you're thinking, I want one to kind of get me going, that's going to, you know, be flexible and allow me to do different things. I would say if you tend to shoot wider, it depends what you're shooting. That's the thing. When I'm shooting professionally, I shoot so much with telephoto lenses, whereas personal stuff, I shoot a lot wider, but then it's because I'm with the people I'm filming, whereas professional, I'm filming people from a distance. They wouldn't like this. If I'm this far away, they'd be like, hey, camera guy, get out of my face. So, so yeah, and as I say, it does make it a bit more front heavy, but it's not too bad, and the build is beautiful on it. So anyway, yes, hope that was helpful, and thanks for watching.